Hey everyone. Thank you so much. We had a few technical difficulties, as you could hear in the background. Please give me a moment and we will go ahead and get started celebrating Holly Hancock, running for Los Angeles Superior Court Judge. My name is Alexandra Garrett, and I am your MC for tonight. I hope that you are ready for a beautiful evening dedicated to you, the viewers, to getting to know Holly on a personal level and her selflessness and sharing the stage with artists and a special poetry reading. All right, so I guess everything is now ready. Thanks, Zoom. I just want to let you in on a little secret. For the past 16 years now, Holly has served as Deputy Public Defender for Los Angeles County. Holly ensures that the constitutional rights are upheld for all criminal defendants as a public defender. That includes the homeless, the mentally ill, and victims of sex trafficking, among many others. She treats clients individually in resolving their cases. Being in courtrooms and debriefing rooms of the courthouse, Holly sees the bad, the good, and the ugly of the judicial system and how it affects all parties. Being elected as judge for the Superior Court, Holly will treat everyone equally with dignity and respect for the Superior Court. But that's just the half of it. Tonight, I want you to enjoy an intimate interview between Holly Hancock and Leah Hill, Holly's sister. If you can give me one moment, I will go ahead and have them present.
Good day, everybody. My name is Dr. Leah L.H. Hill, and just a little bit about myself. I am a psychologist, and I have been serving in that role for over 30 years in the third largest school district in the nation. I'm also a licensed clinical professional counselor. But as a creator, I am an editor, author, publisher, and narrator of meditation books, as well as a children's book series. But enough about me. Holly, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and it's really a pleasure to be here. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And it's a pleasure for you to interview me. I think that's going to be fun.
Yes, I hope so. I want to give everybody like just a little peek in the box. So just a little bit about yourself from your beginnings to all the way to where we are here today as we reach for the judgeship. So let's start back. Let's go all the way back to childhood. So let's see. Can you tell us a little bit about where you grew up?
Yes, it's a pleasure. I grew up in Chicago. I'm a native Chicagoan. I grew up on the South Side, and we grew up in I consider it a small community because even though it was called Chatham, and even though it's a huge city, I guess it was the second city at the time. That might be the third city now, but it was a place where we knew all our neighbors. You really were raised in a village. It was easy to go out and play all day in the summertime. And we were actually expected probably to do that. It was easy to go and play after school. All the kids in the neighborhood would come around. We played in different backyards, and we just had it was a very close-knit area.
Yeah, I can say that. I agree with that. People always think that it's funny that we lived on a block where there were only 4 houses. So when you think about the city of Chicago, you just think it's so massive, and that the houses and everybody's living, so packed in because it's a big city. But it really wasn't. It's really not that way. Speaking of our upbringing, would you like to share a little bit or describe a little bit about our family? And in doing so, would you mind giving us a little peek into some of your best memories? Maybe just give us a couple of those.
Okay. You know, we grew up, it's the four of us. There was two parents, two kids. So kind of like the American dream, so to speak.
No dog, well.
We had grandparents, you know, we visited and they lived in Michigan. Those are some of my fun memories. We would go, they had a farm and we would go up there every summer and also every Thanksgiving, really. My grandmother was the best cook ever. I mean, and I remember even my mother, who was an excellent cook, you know, like you should get her gravy recipe. And we would play in the cornfield all day up there. But that was kind of that. Those are some of the memories I have. We would our parents were both teachers or educators. They did different positions in the education system in the Chicago public school system, and they were very tight with all the other teachers, principals, people who were you know, superintendents even. So they knew, you know, that community was very tight at the time. And we would go and hang out. We would go up to camp at Lake Geneva. George Williams College had, you know, little cabins, I guess you would call it. And we would go there all the time. That's another memory that I have. So we were very close, very tight knit. And, you know, everyone knew everybody, you know, and we had a lot of fun. I think you and I were the youngest of our parents' friends, kids. And so by a few years. And so we, you know, I think you and I kind of play, but they liked to play with us, but we were the younger ones. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I think some of my best memories are also going to Michigan and on the farm and things like that. And I don't know if I appreciated it as much as a child as now I do as an adult. You know, people want to get away and, you know, people starting their homesteads and things like that. So yeah, pretty cool. You mentioned, in talking about your childhood, can you share with us a little bit about your educational background, what that was like for you from, you know, growing up till whenever?
Absolutely. So I had a strong educational background. As I said, we were raised by teachers, and we went to the archdiocese. We went to Catholic schools with the Chicago Archdiocese, and then we, you know, it was a neighborhood school, so we knew all the kids in the neighborhood. That was our first school, and then of course high school and college. I went to University of Illinois. And I majored in rhetoric, which is the art of argument or the writing art of argument. I had anticipated that I would be a writer at that time. And I really enjoyed rhetoric. I enjoyed the, you know, ability to present both sides of an issue and to argue it. And ultimately, many years later, after I moved out here, and I had enjoyed my first career as a flight attendant, I went back to school and I finished law school at Southwestern's 2-year program, also called Scale. And that was where I really, I found I loved constitutional law the best. So it wasn't really criminal law, but it was constitutional law. And I really feel in the criminal law field, it's constitutional law that you're really defending. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so from all the way from Catholic school to private law school, I guess it is.
Yes.
So you had quite an experience. I was just thinking about how our childhoods, you know, everyone, I believe childhood has a great impact on how they are later in life or as they are as adults. I kind of feel like you and I were blessed to have like a positive childhood that had an effect on us later in life. But, it could run the gamut for, most people, as we know, from positive, but they could turn it around. It would be negative, it would be positive. So I think for us, we were able to have exposure to a diverse population. We did travel internationally, so we were exposed to a lot of different cultures very young. And as was mentioned before, they were talking about the judicial system. Yeah, good, bad, happy, sad, cultural experiences. And just a solid education that we had. We were blessed with that. And also having a community service-minded family upbringing. And I'll know all those things, shape us. So from childhood, we bring it from childhood all the way to adult. So what I would like you to share with us is maybe describe or tell us 3 characteristics that you did have as a child that you still have now.
So I wanted to say, I agree with you. I didn't bring everything about our family into it, but our family had a lot of culture, which is why we're here today. And I'm doing the art fundraiser. Right. And we'll discuss that later. I'm sure some of our family members who are here will be able to discuss that. But also, Daddy was very socially and politically astute and aware. We did a lot of reading. Newspapers came in. As you said, we got every newspaper every day. That was crazy.
Right.
I don't have that kind of time. But yes, they did, and they read it, And he also discussed with me a lot politics of the day. There was a lot going on. Nixon was, in office, and there was a whole lot going on. Civil rights, everything was going on at that time. I was little, maybe I didn't understand everything, right, but it was very impactful. And I actually do kind of remember the Vietnam and the people hanging on the helicopter. I really remember that scene. So there was a lot going on. My father always talked to, I think, both of us about those kinds of things. And that always piqued my interest, that I would want to be in service to the community, and to make a change to the community. So one of the things that, I would think I was always honest. Everybody wants to say that, but I think that, I was the one who really couldn't lie. I would try to avoid talking to them. I really couldn't lie to them, flat out lie to them, and I think that I'm still honest. I think that at this point, I'm, at work and everywhere, it's kind of like there's no shame in my game, and I'm going to tell you what's up, and that's where I still am. You pretty much get what you see. I had a big curiosity. I was a big reader. I actually liked school. I know a lot of people didn't, but I liked school. I enjoyed reading. I enjoyed excelling in school. And so I have a curiosity. I still like taking courses. I still like, different courses and things that, I can learn from. I took one political course not too long ago so that, I could prep myself for this. So I believe that there's always good training and good education for everything that you do. Sure. And that would serve me well, I think, on the bench. I think that wanting to know the laws, wanting to really know the situations of the people involved in before the bench, that will carry me, that will hold me in good stead. That curiosity will hold me in good stead. And I'm very determined. Yes. I think that, I always worked hard. I worked through, as a kid, I had health issues because I had asthma. I always worked through issues. I always to achieve things. And I think that helped me on the bench as well. I even to the extent of trying to, make creative intelligence and the law to craft a solution to the problem, a sentence that is a solution, and to perhaps maybe just a sentence that is a flat sentence that isn't going to really solve the problem with the people. That's where I'm coming from. So those three are the things, Leah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Are you
Yes,
okay?
I hear you. Did.
Okay.
You're a little bit frozen, but you were. We could hear. I could hear you pretty much. It was a little bit breaking up, but I could hear you pretty much. So I know you said honesty, curiosity, and determination, and I say absolutely, that's you. Then and now. And I feel like all of those are good qualities of a strong leader. And anybody who's going to sit on a bench and stand judgment of others, you have to be honest. You have to be curious. I was thinking, because you used to like mysteries. So I thought about curiosity and, how that really kind of exemplifies you, that you like to solve things. And I know you mentioned that in the end here, being curious and solving and figuring out the puzzle pieces, and, and the determination just to do that and to stick with that. And then, I know you're an impartial person. You are fair. So I know these are all strong qualities that we would want someone to have as a judge. So, and we know you have the background, you have the education, you have the life experiences of being a community serving person. So tell us a little bit about, that kind of tells it all for me, but tell us a little bit about your desire to be a judge.
Well, I think that it really came about when I was working as a union member and then a union official for the Association of Flight Attendants, and for the company was called United. So, and I represented them, and that's what made me go into being attorney really at that time, to go back after I'd had my daughter and I was married and, I was kind of settled in that. And I went back and I said, I'm going to go back to school and do this, because I did want to help people in that way. I wanted to serve the community in that way. And I have been, in the courtrooms for the last 16 years. And I can certainly say that, I know I have what it takes to make a good judge, because I really look at all sides of the coin, both sides of the coin. And this is how deputy public defenders work. They have to, because they have to know the whole story. They have to know the whole story of the person that they're representing, but not just that, their families. They have to know the whole story of the victims, if there are particular victims, et cetera, et cetera. So they have to know this whole story. And I think that is, why I could sit and say, you know what, I want to be able to use the law to make a difference, where sentencing, where determination of does the person stay in jail or not in jail? Are we having some kind of diversionary, process where they're getting some help, et cetera. So those are the things that I can see, instead of advocating for just one side, that I really advocate for both sides and try to, to get a solution. I think that is why I've wanted to become a judge.
Yes.
And I want to say something. I really like I've been listening about the justice who's retiring, Breyer, and he really believes in a hearty debate. And he believes that if you have an open mind, that you can come to the truth. So he's the one who can work with other people on the court, which is too bad that he's leaving. But anyway, and I think that is important, to know that. So if I'm in a courtroom, there's, defense counsel, and on the other side, there is, prosecution. And I think that it's important to be able to be open-minded and to try to bring those two sides together, to get at the truth, to get at the best solution.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yes. I am going to, now you brought us from the beginning all the way, like I said, to where we are here today at this fundraiser. You gave us a little bit about that a minute ago, and you said some of our relatives on the call will be able to expound a little bit. But from your perspective, what made you decide to have an art-focused fundraiser?
Well, I thought, either issue focused or art, or create, something creative. And I just think that we can take a step back, because art is universal. And that's something that, you know, it can speak to you or not speak to you, depending on what the piece. We have a lot of people in our family who are musicians, who are, you know, like, such as Herbie, or singers such as Terry, who will talk soon, at, you know, and then artists, like a lot of our uncles were artists. You know, I have a son now who's and so there's been a lot of art. I think art just speaks to like those basic values. And so, you know, you can't get too caught up in the drama of who, you know, who's right, who's wrong. It's kind of like, this is a basic value. This is what I feel about it. This is what I'm feeling, and this is what I'm showing you. So that's why.
Okay. All right, then. Well, thank you so much, Holly, for giving me the opportunity to share a little bit about you and me. It was our lives growing up, but more about you with everyone here today. And I'm just so honored to be here with you. And I just wish you the best of luck. So thank you so much. And we're
Thank you. We had good bones, good bones.
Yes, we did.
All right, let me unmute my camera. Where's my camera? All right. Thank you so much. It was wonderful to witness two very strong sisters talk about their past and their history. And Holly, seeing you and hearing your story, it just equates to who you are as a public defender and an elected judge. But as Holly stated, she comes from a family of creatives, filmmakers, musicians, and painters. And I said before, Selflessly, Holly wants to share her platform, her announcement with the artists through a silent auction and a beautiful poetry reading. Tonight, I have the honor of introducing Jean, who is a prolific writer. She is just amazing. And Jean, I am going to hand the floor over to you. Just please give me a moment and I will do that.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, I'm Jean Thompson Miller, and I'm thrilled to be a part of this fabulous evening. I am an English department chair and creative writing teacher at Homewood Flossmoor High School, which is located in a suburb of Chicago. I'm the sponsor and the coach of Poetic Expressions, which is a poetry club. And I have to stop and say this. I am married to an amazing man whose name is Paul. I have 3 children, Jillian, Jordan, and Jeremy. And I have a granddaughter named Hendrix, whom I adore. Now, okay, back to, I'm in love with words. I've always loved words. I love the way they feel. I love the way they taste. It's everything about words that I've been drawn to my whole life. I enjoy the way they rest or wrestle on a page. My poetry has been published in Essence magazine and The Lynching of Emmett Till. So tonight I'll be sharing 2 pieces with you. The first one is called Consequences, and the second one is called Hope. At the end of the piece, I just say poem, so you know the piece is ended. So let's jump in there. Consequences. When you procrastinate, you tuck elaborate plans in a horizontal noose for unsafe keeping. Dreams become flightless birds deep sleeping, weighted by the consequences of gulping truth too quickly. Inspecting holes, sugar water highs, wise words take root, shout, loot. Wings disintegrate until ground cover weaves the heartache you almost wrote about. When you procrastinate, you tap dance on a delicate ledge, plucking chords that rest by water's edge, each initialed by the sun, but courted by his lover, the moon. Your pause button wreaks havoc on other pleasures with the accuracy of melodies stolen mid-bite. Your hesitancy has the consequences of rampant repeat, more sleep, less heat. I invite you to feast on the words tucked in the mattresses of your mind. Firmly manipulate the syllables uplifted to shine in those dark places, to create night lights. Revisit the losses and recreate insight. Fight the urge to not fight. When you procrastinate, words die at the hands of their own hands. Poem. And the second piece is called Hope. There are moments when hopelessness threatens to overtake faith. Days when life feels like a foot race with staggered starting lines. People to your left or right have an edge, whether it is health, financial wealth, or social status. So we are taught to stay in our lanes, that hard work is a virtue that activates opportunity. We are taught to worry about ourselves, stop running after what is not meant for us. These blinders allow us to move through the race at a quicker pace, maybe. But at what sacrifice? We lunge forward, living between the lines as though people do not exist in our margins. And soon our steps become patterns, become predictors of outcomes, become measures of happiness, models of hope. Until that thing happens and the road curves, develops holes or lifts from the pavement altogether, and we become unstuck. It's more of an unglued perspective. We wake in a panic, wondering if the pandemic was a dream, if the funerals and virtual wakes were a nightmare, if our children rocking themselves to sleep real. Life happens. Hope falters. Wounds develop and fester, and before we know it, hopeful, the hopeless robe, snug as a surgical glove. The pandemic seems to have trumped trust and love until silence is the last he, she, they standing. We have to sift through the chalky remains of our lives to rebuild the memories, to create new snowmen, and to recall the power within. But lying down, we are forced to look up. And the sunlight is undeniable. And we spy with our wet eyes hope, standing alone in the playground, waiting for us to wake up. Hope, the grandmother or grandfather who prayed for us by candlelight during isolation orders. Babies reunited with parents at artificial borders. Hope is the pastor or priest, lifting our spirits, delivering blessings. Hope is macaroni and cheese and cornbread dressings. Hope is clinging to a mother who can't remember your name, but sowed seeds with her life, so that even the pain subsides when she smiles and God stares back. Hope is not about strong or weak. It is the way we speak when we need things to work out. Those jitters that awaken when he comes into view, when you can't see hope, but she's staring at you. Hope stands when we sit, kneels while we sleep. Hope spends eternity wrangling lost sheep. It's a whisper that takes root in your stomach and grows into a growl. It's how we make it through this, how to stand in it now, how we say goodbye to what was and christen the new, feeling grateful for second chances while embracing these blues. Hope is the silent sentinel of our sanity. She is the yellow raincoat perched at the foot of our beds. Hope is black, green, and red. That hope I am, that hope that man can survive this. Hope is the instrument that sings without cease, harboring faith while weaving peace. It comes after silence, after pain, after loss, after change. Hope is a seedling, a sapling, a sprig. Hope is minuscule. Hope is big, too big to hide under a mountain. Hope is the water and its stone fountain. So we stand as flesh candles, waiting to be lit. For how we live in our convictions, that's the sum of it. Our votes change lives. Let's not forget. Poem. Thank you all, everybody, for listening. And thank you, Holly, for inviting me. I love you. I believe in you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jean.
I mean, hello, let's snap it, clap it, put it on a wall. Oh my God. Hope is too big to hide under a mountain. What a magnificent and soul-provoking poem, poetry from Eugene. Thank you so, so much. Wow. Right now, we are going to now move on to our silent auction. Before we begin, there are a few things that I need to say about the auction. Bidding starts upon presentations of artwork, and 3 minutes after Holly is done presenting, bidding will stop. Again, bidding starts upon presentation of artwork, and 3 minutes after Holly is done speaking, bidding will end. And at that end, we will then let you know what bidder has won or purchased the piece that they love the most. Okay, so if you so happen to like the pieces and would like to purchase them, please leave a comment in the chat section. And again, at the end of the event, we will let you know who has what, and then we will also send you an email. But please, in the chat, if you can, send your email with the painting that you want so that we can make sure that everything is sent properly. Okay, now on to the artist. It is my joy to introduce two artists named Robert Hightower and Terry Mayfield, who have graciously come to share their pieces with us tonight. For Terry, her starting bid prices will be in her presentation. If you give me a moment, I will then pass the floor on to Terry. And thank you so much for being patient.
Now you can hear me, right? Okay, great. Okay, so wow, that was great. Oh, Jean, your poetry just warms my heart. Thank you so much. My name's Terry Mayfield. Holly, Leah, and I are cousins, and we grew up in Chicago. We're from a family of artists. One world-renowned jazz pianist is Herbie Hancock. We have so many talented people in our family. And there are some that are resting in heaven. There are some in this next generation that are very, very talented. We had our Uncle Barney, may he rest in heaven. He painted many, many portraits, and there's one of which I still have to this day, in which he painted of me when I was 2 years old. And it's crazy. I had that painting for so many years, and about 20, I would say 20 or 25 years ago, the top part started to peel away. And so I kind of pulled it back, and oh my gosh, a picture of my Uncle Barney. Wow, I had goosebumps. It was really, really weird. Then there's our Uncle Gilbert, Gilbert Hancock. He was an extraordinary pottery designer and a teacher. And then there's my mother, Annie Hancock. She's a very gifted clothes designer and artist. I'm inspired by our ancestors throughout my whole life. I was a professional vocalist since the age of 12. I've traveled near and far. And for the past 24 years, I've been a worship leader. I've designed couture jewelry. And recently in November 2020, I had the idea that I could paint. I've loved art, and I decided I should. So I gave it a try, paint by numbers, but I didn't like the numbers. So I changed the whole canvas to suit my color combination, how I thought it should look. And that's been recently. But I tell you, there are gifts that God gives, and I am so thankful. For I never knew I had that gift until last year, January 2020, in which I started. And since then, I've painted over 50 art pieces, and I've sold a lot, a lot of art pieces. So let's talk about the type of art that I do. I do many different types. One which is called fluid acrylics. And I want to explain this to you so you understand what you're looking at. Fluid acrylics is a runny, kind of thin consistency. Is designed to flow and spread easily without sacrificing the color intensity. And so the paint, acrylic paint, is mixed with water and other chemicals, possibly Floetrol, and sometimes glue, depending on what the art piece is. And I'll explain that as we move forward. So what you're looking at right now is the first piece, which is called Flower Fusion. And this is in fluid acrylic paint pour. It's a 24 by 18 by 1.5 inch gallery wrapped canvas. And this piece of work starts at $250. So let's go on to the next one, the next slide. Show you a little bit more of a close up here. This is the top, and also the sides are the same colors. It's like a deep pink on the 1.5 inch side and border on all four sides. Yeah?
Carrie, let's start to share your screen.
Oh,
we can't see your slides. No.
Oh,
We're not seeing the slide.
I thought I did that. Okay, hold on. I'll figure it out. Can you see it now? How's that?
Yes, it's it. There we go.
Okay.
It's there. And
Okay,
it
I'll
happens.
go backwards
It's
right
Zoom.
here.
It's happened. It's Zoom.
Zoom. Okay. All right. So here we are. This is what I was talking about when I first started. This is Flower Fusion. And yes, you can have artwork in your bathroom, okay? I do. Flower Fusion is a fluid acrylic paint pour. It's a 24 by 18 by 1.5 inch gallery wrapped canvas. The bid starts at $250. And I'll go to the next slide. As you see, the top of the canvas is, as I said, a 1.5 inch on each side. And this is the border. It's a hot pink on all four sides. So I can move that up so you can see that a little bit closer, okay? Okay, take a peek at that. And so for the next slide, Flower Fusion again, this is the left side of the canvas. And so you can see the artwork and the embellishments after I poured the paint. So I'm gonna take a moment right now and explain to you how this works. So I take the canvas and I put a base coat on. In this case, the base coat was a light pink. And I tilt the canvas as I pour the paint on. So the paint goes into a cup of different colors. And then you see the colors here. You see purple and green and yellow, and assortment of colors. So the colors are stacked in a cup per se. And I gently pour the paint onto the canvas. And I take the canvas and I turn it and I tilt it to make the paint go where I want it to go. So I have to control the paint. And then after I finish that process, I allow the paint to dry. And then I come back once the canvas is dry, and I use hand embellishments to, with a brush, a paintbrush, and I go in and I highlight a lot of areas just to kind of bring out some of the color, okay? And so, like I said, with this piece, Flower Fusion, 24 by 18 by 1.5 inch gallery wrap canvas, the starting bid is $250. We're going to go on to the next one. This is Rainbow Wade. Why do I call it Rainbow Wade? Well, it's not actually a rainbow, but you can wade through those colors if you want to. I'm going to go over here. So the starting bid for Rainbow Wade is $250. This also is a 24 by 18 by 1.5 inch gallery wrapped canvas. It's also in fluid acrylic poured painting. And this had basically the same process. So I want to make a comment here. The background looks like it's white on here, but it's actually pearl white. And I'll show you something that'll give you an idea what that pearl white looks like. So I'll bring this down, and I hope you can see that this is a pearl white, not a pure white. And you can see all the colors and swirls, like the paint just kind of like spreads on the canvas. And you can see where I've embellished some silver. You can see where I did some embellishments with some of the pink and some of the green and some of the white in certain places. Let's go to the next slide. Now this one, again, is Rainbow Wave. This is the bottom middle of the canvas. And as you can see, we draw this in a little bit. Take a look at that. You can see the purple and the pinks and the greens and the yellows and the whites. And that highlights in a oh, it's just absolutely beautiful. And it's a fun thing to do. I'm going to show you another one. This is the right side of Rainbow Wave. And as I said, the background is a pearl white. It's really pretty, pearl white. It's like a pearl. And again, the starting bid is at $250. Let's go to the next one. This one here, this one's a little bit different. This is called Autumn Ridge. And this is what's called a reverse flower dip. And the process for a reverse flower dip is I lay plastic on a long table and I tie it, make sure it's tight and taped down. And I put the canvas on the plastic and I draw the size of the canvas. And then I have paint that's already poured, like I said, into a cup per se, and the colors are stacked on top. And I pour it onto the table, not the canvas, in strategic areas where I want the paint to sit and spread. And I'll explain that in just a moment too. So I take the first piece and I turn it flat face down onto the table. And I place my hands onto the back of the canvas and I gently spread the paint around by hand. And then I take the second piece again, and I gently lay that onto the paint and I gently press my hands on the back and gently spread it around the canvas. But one thing I have to tell you, as I pull those canvases off of the table, I also take time to saturate the paint on the sides of the canvas. So the design that you see here is also wrapped around onto the sides of the canvas. Now, this piece of work here, Autumn Ridge, the starting bid is at $200. And this is a 3-piece set. So we have two 12 by 24 by 5/8 inch thick canvases, two. Then we have one 12 by 12 by 1.5 inch canvas, and that's the one in the middle. And I'm going to highlight that right here so you can see this. So if you look at this, you can see the colors in it. And I'm going to explain this to you. The canvas on the far right was the first dip, reverse flower dip. And you see how it changes. The canvas in the middle, it was the second reverse flower dip. The canvas on the far left was the last flower dip. And again, these colors wrap around on the sides of the painting. So that's how that's done, first flower dip. And that's how it's done. So quickly, I just want to say, follow me on Facebook. And any paintings on my website or on Facebook that you're interested in purchasing, email me directly at fineartbyterrymayfield@gmail.com. But type in the subject box, vote for Holly Hancock, and this is what happens. When you purchase that painting, I'll write a check for 20% of your art purchase to the Holly Hancock for Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Campaign Fund, and I'll ship it to you directly to your home or office. Can't beat that, and I'm done.
Terry, you are, is it Picasso? I absolutely love your pieces. They are beautiful. Thank you so much. We're going to move on to Robert Hightower. The bid starts at $500. If you give me a second, I will go ahead and give the floor to Robert.
So today I am auctioning off a piece that's really dear to me. I call it Home. It is a 3-piece series. Each piece is 16 by 20 and it's framed and matted upon request. And my art journey also began a year ago. I didn't go to school for art. I didn't practice art on my free time. I didn't sketch or draw, but rather I started this self-identity journey. COVID happened, and when you're at home for 2 years by yourself and you're not around family, you're forced to look at yourself in the mirror every single morning and ask who you are. And I started having a really hard time. I lived in Chicago growing up, moved to LA, and now I live in San Francisco. And each place I've become a different person. And I'm not sure if that's healthy, but each of these pieces represents me in each of those spaces. And I call the pieces home because, one, I miss home. Home isn't a physical place to me. It's in people. It's in people like Holly. It's in people like my sister Chloe. It's in all of you. You know, and as I learned that, I begin to break down this stress that I had around creating art because I was always scared to share my art. And so as we look at these pieces, I do a lot of abstract expressionism, and I'm very, very descriptive with the visuals. And so this piece, I use red, black, and green representing Africa. Being an African-American, growing up Black, African-American history was it was something I was raised on, but always took pride in knowing. I felt like I had this edge on the rest of the world because I could run off 1,000 Black inventors, or I could tell you, I could name 10 Black pilots, you know, and so for me, there was a historical context of using those colors. And one thing with the art, you know, I don't plan art. Art is an emotional reaction for me. It is not I didn't set out to create these pieces for this moment. It just happened. And I think as I begin my art journey, I begin to find myself. And I begin to find this authentic version of myself. And I think in where we are in society now, authenticity is pretty much, that's like the top characteristic that you're going to want from anyone, especially if you're going to elect them to be a judge. You want them to be authentic. You want them to care. You want them to be genuine. And my art is that. And my art is only that because that's who I am now. I'll be honest with you, I was not that before. And so I've had this growth happen where now I'm able to share myself with you as I share art. And as you look at these pieces, a lot of people say, oh, wow, there's a lot going on. Yeah, I wrote the word home 100 times on each piece. And for me, it was aggressive. There was pain when I did it. There was anger, there was happiness. And my art is not meant to just be looked at and walked by. I want you to stand there. I want you to soak it in. Everyone's going to feel different. And what makes these pieces so special in calling them home is each of us has our own version of home. And so when each of you looks at this painting, wherever it's placed, wherever it is, you're going to see and feel a completely different experience. And as you back away from these paintings, they become one fluid image. They connect. The Blacks connect. The Reds connect. You begin to see a scene. And that scene is your brain creating its own version of home. And for me, I feel like Holly is home. I feel like now at the stage that she's in, at the place that the world is in, now more than ever, we're going to want someone who's authentic like she is. And my art not just represents her, it represents all of you. And I'm happy to have had the honor to share this art. I'm happy that this journey has begun. I didn't have a promo set up, but I'm actually, I've been moved by the poetry and everything. And so any piece that you actually buy off of RobertHightowerArt.com will go directly to Holly. like 100% of the proceeds. And I will frame and mat every picture for anyone. So this is auctioned for $500, but on my website, Robert Hightower Art, if you see any piece that you like, I will ship it for free. We will donate 100% of the proceeds to Holly. And I appreciate this opportunity and good luck, Holly.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. That was very beautiful. That was beautiful.
I absolutely love it. There must be 2 Picassos in 2022. Thank you so much, Robert and Terry. Again, if any of you have liked the pieces that I have presented, please leave a comment in the chat section with your email and the piece that you are bidding on, and we will handle that afterward. Right now, I am going to pass the floor to Holly Hancock, and I would love for you all to hear why she's running for judge, why she should be judge, and how you all can support her towards her goal. If you give me a moment, I will then go ahead and pass the floor to Holly.
Hello, everyone. Again, thank you so much for joining me tonight, for sitting through what might be a little bit different view of who I am, the things I like. And I'm happy to say that, you know, I'm really looking forward to this run. Monday, I go and I will register and pay for my campaign. And we will proceed from there. June 7th is the date to vote. And I will be able to serve the community best this way. I know how to look at things, how to look at both sides of the coin, how to determine from the people in front of me, because I've been through a lot of different things myself, as Robert even mentioned. You know, I've worked in, you know, the airline industry. I've worked as actually, at one point I worked as a teacher. I mean, I've done a lot of different things, and I think that I can understand. I've been married. I have a daughter that I've raised, a son that I've raised, and so I think that I have a broad view of life, what happens to people, and I'm curious about that. I have creative intelligence in terms of how to use the law in different ways to create a solution. And I think that's what sentencing is. Or if I am in child dependency court, or placed in family law court, or placed in civil court, there are many different ways for you to use the same tools of creative intelligence, of integrity. And I will also deal with respect for both sides and for the attorneys. I respect you coming before the bench. I respect you presenting yourself to me in any way that you do. And that's why I know that I would make a great judge for this community. And I look forward to serving and continuing to serve this community. I've served it for 16 years as a deputy public defender, and I will continue to serve it as on the bench, as a person who really wants to get to the bottom of things, who really wants to create solutions. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming today. Again, if you are interested in any of the art, you know, your donations are meaningful to me because they assist me in getting the word out. They assist me in, you know, getting out the vote, basically. That's what we need to do. And so it goes directly into that, into, you know, publicizing, and to, you know, paying for different kinds of things that have to do with getting out the vote. And this is a big, Los Angeles County, I think, is one of the most populous counties, period. And, you we've got to get the vote out. So thank you for coming. Also share everything widely with everybody that you know, that I'm here. This is what I'm doing. This is what I continue to do. And again, thank you very much. I think we're going to come back and just have any more bids. And I will let Alexandra close out the evening. But thank you again, everybody, for coming.
Thank you so much, everyone. I am getting ready to let you all view the artwork in a few seconds. If you give me a moment, I will go ahead and set that up. And afterward, I will come back and close out. And then I will also announce who has bid and what artwork you have actually won. All right, give me 1 second. Yay! Thank you so much for participating. I see that we have a bid, and Leah Hill will get Flower Fusion for $250. Yay! That is amazing. Again, if you are interested in any of the pieces, please, if you can, since the chat will be closing very, very soon, please email us at Holly Hancock #4judge@gmail.com. Again, that's Holly Hancock #4judge@gmail.com. Please tell us which piece that you loved and the bid that you are putting on it. Again, thank you all so much for your time and your support of Holly Hancock for Los Angeles Superior Court Judge 2022. If you are interested in how you can help Holly by donating or volunteering or anything else, don't hesitate to get in touch with us by emailing us at hollyhancock #4judge gmail.com. Again, thank you all for coming. This is the end. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you, panelists, and thank you, participants.